Hello, Hayless Gaming here, bringing you another burner guide video today. Today we have Anomic base Serpentis, which is also referred to as the Talos mission, or the Anomic Talos burner. The objective in this one is to destroy 3 burner Talos. We're allowed to bring a cruiser in this one, as it's a base. I would really advise against trying to bring a battle cruiser in this one. It's also runnable with a Vagabond. It's just depending on how much attention you can play. The Vagabond's a little bit slimmer. This is super safe. This is a lot safer because you have a lot more tank. Because it tanks the Kinetic thermal really well, so we use a Demos. But basically what these Taloses do is they sensor damp you, so you can't lock them at a long range. And they do blaster damage at 250 kilometers. So each one brings about 1000 DPS at a range of 250 kilometers. So they hit like trucks. And so the entire trick to survive these guys is the signature tank and kind of spiral in. This is doable by a lot of ships, but I find that the fastest and most reliable is the Demos. You can trade a little bit of that reliability or ability to make mistakes for saving an entire minute off the mission by using a Vagabond. The Vagabond does a little bit less DPS, but it moves around it goes a whole 1000 meters a second faster than the Demos. So that's a big deal here when you have to fly 400 kilometers. With that being said, we'll jump right on into the fit here. It's a really easy fit. These don't have to be tier 2. You can use neutron blasters with antimatter. You just need guns on the ship. You want to be able to have T2 cap rechargers and a 550 MN micro warp drive to go fast. I use a tier 2 because it doesn't have as big of a penalty as the on cap. I do know that you can also use the quad lift or the monopropellant or I think it's restrained to get better cap efficiency. I like the cap penalty on this. So a tier 2 has a cap penalty of 20%, whereas the others, the quad lift and the restrained, have a cap penalty of 25. This comes into play when you have the micro warp drive off. It doesn't really count when it has it on. So I prefer the straight up tier 2 micro warp drive. Whereas if we look at the quad lift, which is easier to fit, oh, I guess it also has a 20. I stand corrected. I stand corrected at the beginning of my video. Anyways, I digress. I prefer the tier 2. It's what I've done forever. You can use a quad lift for a restraint if you want. And then, of course, the 3 cap rechargers. We have a Corpus X-type Kinetic Hardener, bringing our resistances up to 92 when we hit the simulate button. This brings our resistance up to 92 in Kinetic. And then we have a Serpentis X-type Thermal Armor Hardener, which helps bring our resistance up to 89 with a Thermal Armor Reinforcer. This brings us to 89, 92 resist. The NPCs do 50-50 kinetic thermal damage, and they do a lot of damage, so we really want that high resist. We have a C-type medium armor repper and a medium armor repper 2. The armor repper 2 is the emergency use, and this one runs 100% of the time. And then we have 2 magnetic field stabilizers. So it is a dual rep fit, but we only have to run one. So notes to keep in mind about this fit is you want to be cap stable running the Afterburner and one of your reppers. So we turn everything off, the micro drive and one of the reppers. So we turn everything but that one repper, or but the micro warp drive, one of the reppers, and 2 hardeners on. We should be cap stable. This means that we can run this all day. And if we turn this off and we turn this on, we're close to cap stable. And then if we also turn on our guns, we're cap stable running 1 rep, and we have 1 pocketed for emergencies if we make a mistake. This gives us the ability to make a lot of mistakes. Some people would prefer to take off a magnetic field stabilizer for assault damage control, and that's perfectly fair. If you do screw up, an assault damage control will throw your structure HP or your structure EHP through the roof and your armor EHP through the roof. It'll pretty much make you unkillable for 15 seconds, so you can correct the mistake you made. And there's a lot of room to make there's a lot of opportunities to make mistakes in this mission. So that's that. It's just that. It's honestly a really simple fit. There's nothing really fancy going on here except that we make sure that we're cap stable running one of the reppers at all times, because one repper stays on. So I have one down here and one up here. The Tech 2 one is the one up on the highs where I have the hotkeys to do, and then these 3 modules stay on the entire time. They don't overheat or anything. We're in this mission long enough that we need to have those running the entire time. For the skills, this character for skills, I accidentally ended up training this character for this mission, and I didn't really realize I had. You do need Galente Cruiser to 5 to be able to fly the Demos, and that's it. If you have heavy assault cruisers trained to 1, you can do it. In engineering, you're going to want the capacitor management and capacitor systems operation up to a point where you make those cap stable marks where I said with the prop mod and one of the reppers running. You need to be cap stable running that. Aside from that, you don't really need it. And the fitting is really easy. So you need weapons upgrades or advanced weapon upgrades to use the modules and stuff and all the like module fitting requirements. If you can fit this ship and it's cap stable, you'll be fine. The other requirement that's really important is repair systems 5. And getting the hull upgrades and mechanics up will help your overall HP and give you a little bit more buffer when you make mistakes. And I'm probably going to make a mistake on this because I honestly haven't ran this mission for a while. In the navigation tab, you're going to want navigation train to 5. This is a 1x skill. It helps every single ship in like every single activity. I recommend this to 5. You can probably get away with it to 4. And then I believe acceleration control is what's required for the micro warp drive, or it's high-speed maneuvering. I can't remember. It's acceleration control and high-speed maneuvering. It looks like I don't even have a high-speed maneuvering file on this character. So with 4, we should be good. We can use drones. Drones are a good gimmicky way to get out of a problem. So you can bring drones. They do help a little bit. They're not really required. And then in the gunnery tab, you need to have guns. So you need medium hybrid turrets trained to 4. Like I said, you can use metaphoric guns with antimatter, and then medium blast suspect to 1 if you want to use void. And then, of course, all the support skills I would recommend to get to 4. You don't need them for 5. This one, like I said, you can do this one with really low skills. This doesn't require a lot of skills to run. And then in rigging, we don't have anything on this character. This is actually going to be this character's first time doing this mission ever. So it's going to be fun. Anyways, before we go in, we always turn on the tank before we even start to hit the acceleration button. And when we go in, I'll show you the challenges that this mission presents.
Overdrive active.
We'll get moving here. Maybe I should start aligning the date before I start recording the video on these. Anyways, if you guys want to see me do these live on Twitch at any time, or live on Twitch, I do stream Monday through Friday at 11:30 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anyways, coming into the room, we have 3 Talos. There's one right here, there's one up top, and there's one in the corner. We want to get moving, and we also need to make sure that we don't come within range of these turrets. They're inert proximity activated turrets, and what happens is if you get within 10 kilometers of one of these turrets, it turns on. They do roughly 100 DPS a piece. So if you just willy-nilly activate these, you're gonna have a bad time. So our first goal is to get outside of this field. I don't care which way you go. Generally, I'll go left in this kind of trajectory here, and you see I've picked a path that kind of leads me right out, and kind of working towards the first Talos. You can go the opposite direction too, and go towards this one. In Galente space, there's a big star. It's this star or this star when you're looking at the beacon. If you look at that star and you double click on that particular star right there, it takes you out perfectly every time. And then once we clear this minefield, so what we have to make sure that we do, we need to keep our transversal up with this guy, and we need to make sure we keep our transversal up with this guy. Once we get closer to this guy, we don't have to have as high of a transversal. So we're going to go ahead and start turning towards him here. We never want to directly approach. You never, ever directly approach a Talos. Ever. It will kill you. Like I said, they do 1,000 DPS a piece. We have 92 resist, and we're taking 100 damage a shot. They're taking 1,000 damage a shot, because you multiply it by 10 because we have a 90% resist. They're doing a lot of damage. Once you're under about 60 kilometers, you can make another turn and kind of start spiraling in towards him. Our goal is to get close to him. As you can see, we can't lock him yet. Well, I guess we can. I lied, but you can't lock him at a long range. And then once we get in range of him, we're going to get into kind of the hairy part. we got to turn off our bot, and this slows us down significantly. Again, we're going to kind of zoom out and check how we're looking with this Talos. We don't want to be flying directly away from this Talos. We want to keep a good trajectory with this one. We're coming into range. We're going to go ahead and turn on our guns, and we're going to fly directly at him, kind of directly at him. You don't want to right-click and approach. You don't want to do like 100% direct approach at him. You kind of want to make it so you start approaching him. As you get closer, you can set your speed down, and then as you notice, we're taking a lot of damage. At this time, if you're feeling uncomfortable with your armor damage, you can go ahead and pulse a couple of extra reps out of your extra rep, and that'll get you in a good spot. I don't like slowing down. Some people do. But we also don't want to overshoot him because we want to get his wreck. So if we had right-clicked and orbited this guy, we could have ended up in an orbit like this, and we would have been directly approaching this Talos and then directly approaching this Talos, leading to death. But now we're getting too close. We're going to overshoot him. We need to make a turn. We're going to go straight up, and that keeps our transversal with this guy and this guy up. And go ahead and turn off that repper. And maintains our distance. Now, we have the challenge of looting them as well. So we're going to make another 45-degree turn. And then we're going to try and get ourselves going straight down right over this wreck here. We don't want to slow down too much while we get the loot. If we just right-click this and open the cargo, what'll happen is we'll approach it and we'll stop moving. And at that point, we die. So we need to get within 2,500 meters of it and loot it. We always check wrecks when doing the Serpentis base, because this is the single most likely mission to drop faction loot. I've pulled 500 million ISK out of this mission in one go. So we've done our loot. We're going to start working on spiraling in towards the second Talos. We're not going to go straight across and go to that one. That would be silly. We're going to kind of kill two birds with one stone. We're taking a lot of damage right now. We need to get our ship moving. One really cool part about the Demos is that we show info here. It has half the signature radius penalty of a normal cruiser when you use a micro-warp drive. So this makes it an excellent signature tanking ship for the micro-warp drive. Now that we're fully repaired up, we're going to shut off the repper, and our guns are shut off. We're going to go ahead and reload them. We're going to hit Control-R for that. We're going to make sure our cap is doing okay. If we need to at this point, we can pulse this second repper if we need cap, but we should be fine. And then we're going to start making our way towards this guy. This is another risky moment because we kind of have to start making our way towards this guy. When you make this close click, this Talos starts doing a lot more damage. And like I said, they hurt when they hit you. They really do. So you never want to directly approach. If I did directly approach this guy, he would do a very good job of hurting me. And as I said, once we get 90, we can start thinking about reducing this angle. So this is what's called spiraling in. We're not directly approaching it, but we're making our way towards it. When you get so close, this angle will turn less into an acute angle, which means that it's smaller. So this being acute, that's a right angle, right? So we got a right angle and we have an obtuse angle. You want to keep it acute. And if you keep it acute, you're closing the gap. If you go obtuse, you're not closing the gap so fast. And you see here we're starting to come up on it becoming a right angle. We want to make it acute again. So we're going to make sure that we keep this angle going in as we close the gap. And then as we get under 30 or so, we can kind of almost directly approach him again. You remember how I did that with the first one? The second one's a lot safer because now instead of having two Taloses firing at us, we are under the guns of the second one, and the third one isn't really able to do much about it. So now we can just kind of go ahead and manually set an orbit around this. Break that, I'm not going to be happy to. If you just kind of manually set an orbit around this, you'll be fine. So you again, you want to make sure that you never directly approach the last Talos. Even at this point, when we're taking half the damage that we were taking before, we can still die. It is still possible for this Talos to kill us. They do a lot of damage, and we can only tank so much. So we need to make sure our transversal stays high. And then this one will go down, and we'll check the wreck for it. You always check the wrecks of burners. The only exception is the Serpentis burner, where it's too far away to justify checking the wreck. But since we're right on its head anyways, we may as well check it. That one had nothing. And then we're going to go ahead and start working towards this one. This is the last one. We can be a little bit more carefree. At this point, I actually like to go through the field, even if it means triggering one of the sensors, because we have the tank to do it. the towers do damage purely in the EM. So we take 50% damage. That means that they do 100 DPS and we have 50% resist. That means that we're going to take 50 DPS if we trigger one. And our ship can only handle roughly 150 DPS incoming. So if we triggered 3 of these turrets, we wouldn't be able to tank the room at all. And that's not including the Taloses. So we really don't want to trigger the turrets unless we absolutely have to. We might trigger this with the direction that I picked. We'll kind of see here. I probably won't 20 kilometers away from it. But even if we do, we'll be okay. If you're flying the Vagabond, it actually has 75% EM resist in the shields, which gives it means it only takes 25 damage. So as you can see, we triggered it. We could kill it, but we're not going to. They have a 70,000 S bounty on this. So one other cool thing about this mission is that these Taloses have 7 million S bounties on it. We killed 3 of them. That's 21 million S that we get for clearing this. It's pretty fantastic. So we're just going to go ahead and continue making an acute angle to make sure that we continue spiraling in on them. And we'll close the gap and kill them. And it's that simple. That's basically it for Burner Talos. This is runnable in a lot of ships with small signature radiuses that are fast. I've seen Confessors do it. I've seen somebody doing it in a Hecate with 800 DPS. I've done it with an alpha character in a worm. I know assault frigates would be really good at this. There are so many ships that can do this mission. It's not even funny. The Talos is pretty well tailored for it. So as we close this gap here, on this third one, we can actually orbit it at 500 because we're not worried about transversal with other Taloses. So at this point, we'll grab an orbit. We'll go ahead and lock it up. If you keep at range, he can get a good shot on you. So you really don't want to keep at range. You just kind of want to wait for him to die. Because if you keep at range, he can get a nice shot on you, and you don't want to let that happen. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Burner Talos. If you like these videos, I have 2 more left. We have the I have to make the Gurista base, which I've not ran since the Hardener nerf, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out. And we have to do the Anomic teams video, which I'm super excited for. Make sure you like and comment in the things below. There's a link to my Discord, and now my in-game corporation is also recruiting. If you join the in-game channel, hateless_gaming, you can ask how to join there. I'm going to go ahead and keep at range now. It's a little risky, but it's going to increase our DPS quite a bit. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and down below. And we will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to pet my kitty while we wait for this guy to die, and we'll check the loot that it drops. So let's see what he got. Yeah, we didn't get anything. Anyways, fly fun. Enjoy your time in EVE Online. I know that I do, so I hope you do as well.